Good morning. Today's mug fits today's topic. The mug says, perhaps you were born for such a time as this. That's the title of the topic today. Don't skip the process of such a time as this. I hope that you're coming out on Saturday to hear my TED talk on aging. And even if you're not, I hope that later on you will go on and watch it on YouTube and give me some shares and some likes and some things. But nonetheless, today's topic, don't skip the process of such a time as this. Um, as most people know, that comes out of the book of Esther, the fourth chapter in the 14th verse. But today I just want to apply it to our practical lives. So, one of the things that we can be sure of is that everything in life is a process. There are moments in life when everything seems to align, our pain, our preparation, our purpose, and we realize that we've been positioned for such a time as this. Um, Today, we want to talk about what is the process that we go through. There's three parts of the process of being ready for such a time as this. And the first thing is the preparation, the work behind the curtain. Before Esther ever stood before the king, y'all, she spent a year being prepared. She got the oils and the treatments, and everything was right. And she knew the palace protocol, and she was in training and all of the things. And so when the moment presented itself, it wasn't like it came out of the blue. Do you understand that wherever you're headed, that it requires some preparation? And lots of times that preparation happens in the dark. It happens when no one else is looking. You don't suddenly turn on service. You don't suddenly turn it on when you're in the light. Oh, I'm a servant. People know that that's fake. If you are truly a servant, you've been serving for years. If you are truly called to something, you've been doing it long before anybody recognized you for doing it. Long before I had a national or an international platform, I had been speaking. My very first speech, not for pay, my very first speech for young people happened in 1997 when I showed up at a retreat and I did a workshop, because that's what they asked me to do, on teen dating violence, because that was my background. Domestic violence awareness and prevention was my background. And so I did a whole workshop for kids on teen dating violence. And now we would call it intimate partner violence amongst teens. And so I had been preparing for that for years, doing literally workshops around domestic violence all over the country. So it wasn't new for me when I stepped into that role. I was prepared for it before I got there. We've got to understand that oftentimes we think we're forgotten because we're in the background. You're not. That's your preparation ground. For whatever you're going to do, you need to make sure that you're doing the pre work behind the scenes. That's why it's called prep. You're preparing. If you're going to eat a healthy meal all week, you do meal prep. If you're going to be ready for the call that is on your life, you got to do some preparation so that you can adequately walk out the call. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning. Um, oh, Lady Overflow. Good morning. You've got to be ready to walk it out, but that happens behind closed doors when no one is watching. The anointing that is on your life, it comes full focus, and people know you've been praying in silence when you step on in a pulpit. It doesn't happen the night before when you start putting your sermon together. It happened in all the preparation you've been doing in praying and seeking God for all of the things of your life. Good morning, Alana. Good morning, Minister Tanisha. Good morning. It doesn't happen there. So the first step is the preparation step. If you understand the process of such a time as this. Next, you've got to understand positioning, that there is divine placement that is on your life, that none of it happens from happenstance. We think that we created the things and opened the doors that got us here. We didn't. I don't know about you, but every good door that I have walked through, I am abundantly clear that God had purposed it for my life. He placed me in rooms, y'all, where I didn't have the education for it. He has placed me in places where I didn't have pedigree for. That's how I know that it ain't tea. It's God. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at God. But positioning requires obedience. It requires your yes. Can I tell you, yes is the hardest thing I have ever done, giving God my yes in this season. Because the moment I said yes to the call on my life, all hell broke loose. But it was still the right thing to be prepared for the positioning that God has for me, to give Him my complete, whole yes, even when I don't understand the end or the big picture. I know that I am what? Divinely placed. And next, the purpose, the courage to act. So what if you got this great purpose on your life, if you don't have the courage to walk it out? We sometimes, good morning, Deaconess Wendy. Good morning, Miss Teresa Woods. Can I just tell you, sometimes it requires the courage to walk out the thing that we are called to do. Good morning, Dr. Chandra. To walk out the thing that we're called to do. So what if you've prepared? And so what if you're positioned, if you don't have the courage to walk out the purpose? People ask me, kids ask me this all the time. Miss T, when you get on the stage, are you ever scared? I'm like, every time I get on the stage, I am afraid. I throw up. Sometimes I'm nauseous. Sometimes I pace. I do lots of getting ready to go on the stage kinds of rituals. But can I tell you, because I know that I'm supposed to do the thing that I'm about to do, it requires some courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. Sometimes courage is doing it afraid. I don't double dare you to be like Esther, because Esther said, I might die. But guess what? She had the courage to walk out the purpose for which she had been called. That's why the process matters. When the moment comes, you don't have time to get ready. There's somebody who said, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's what that preparation and being in positioning is about. So that when it's time to walk out the purpose, you have the courage to do so. I came to tell somebody today, good morning, Jill. I came to tell somebody today that it's okay to understand the process of such a time as this. The process, the preparation, the work you're doing behind the scenes when no one is looking, the positioning to understand that where you are ain't got nothing to do with your pedigree. It ain't got nothing to do with your degrees. It has nothing to do with that, because there's some people who got PhDs. There's some doctors with DRs. There's some folks who got degrees. There's some folks who got pedigrees who can't get to the places that God has put you because He positioned you for that. It was divine. And then next, the purpose. Have the courage to act on the thing that God has called you to do. You know what? I'm the amazing T Street, but there's absolutely positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. So today, whatever you do, don't skip the process of such a time as this. Not that, this. Have an amazing day. Ooh, I felt that in my shanana.